Ah, there we are. That went on a bit longer than I expected it to then. I thought I set up the short one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Benney Babbles. We are early, but never mind. Better, it doesn't matter what time. You can listen to this anytime you want. Welcome to the show. And today I'm babbling. Fleur, how are you? How are you today? Welcome to Benney Babbles, the show that has no organization whatsoever.
I love it. I love that. I love that we're just gonna babble. I'm very well. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's so lovely to be here and share some thoughts.
Thank you for agreeing to come on. It's been ages since we had a quick chat when we sort of logged on, but yeah, it's been ages since we spoke last. Lots of things have happened, and we're now in the similar workspace. You're a coach as well.
Yeah, exactly. Shall I share a little bit of what I'm doing?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, I was thinking that we're both in the well-being sector now, aren't we? Help. I don't know why I did that, but that seems to go with well-being.
It does well-being.
So I'm in the middle of training, but I'm already having clients. I'm a naturopath nutrition advisor. And coach. So I've done a 12-month course, and I've kind of stopped after 12 months. I have a diploma from my 12 months as a nutrition advisor, which means I can advise people on digestion, anything to do with digestion. I talk about poo a lot, lots of poo conversations.
Do you have the poo chart?
I have the poo chart. Some people go, but I show it, but then it is helpful. And the wee chart, yeah, exactly. And I help people with digestion, sleep issues, energy, to have more sustained energy, and just generally having a healthy diet and lifestyle. And also I've done some training to become a weight loss coach. So I'm kind of also in the middle of that, and I'm putting it together with what I've been. Oh, sorry, someone's calling me.
Right. I thought that was mine then, because it's usually mine that goes up.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
That's okay. Shows it's live.
I know, it's true. It was my husband forgetting that I'm doing this podcast with you and asking me if I want oranges or something. So I'm in the middle of doing weight loss coaching as well, because a lot of people come to me with various digestive issues, but there's a lot of people that need help with weight loss, and I've been on my own weight loss journey as well, which has been helpful. So I feel like that's probably where I'm headed. But after, I'm going to do a year of working with clients so I can really learn basically what people need and what my style is, and finding my kind of voice, within this sector. And then I'm going to complete my next second and third year to become a full naturopath therapist. But I felt like I didn't want it just to be theory. I wanted to be practice for a while, because I'm older. I'm not 20 something doing this. I'm in my 50s. But I feel like this is my calling, Gerard. I love this work. I'm obsessed by it. I
know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, are you the same with your job as well?
Oh, yeah. It's again, if you'd said to me 10 years ago that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I'd say, no, you need to go and see a therapist, because there's no way in the world that was on my cards.
Yeah.
But here I am today, but I think I needed to go through life and get to where I am now to be able to do the job properly. Really, to have that life experience. It's a calling. I don't see it as a job. I'm just lucky I get paid for doing things that I enjoy doing.
It's true. I was thinking that I wouldn't be able to listen the way I need to, or like you need life experience, don't you, to be able to really empathize with somebody. And because often people come to me and it's the first time they've ever spoken about themselves, or or talking, you know, they might be talking about constipation, you know, or wanting to lose a couple of stone or whatever. But actually, they've been very brave. They've never done that before, like talking to somebody to say, okay, I really want to figure out how I can help this. And I always feel really honored by people giving me their trust. And I was thinking I wouldn't have had this way of thinking if I did it when, not saying that 20-year-olds can't do the job. I'm sure they'd also be very good and bring a different energy. But I feel in my 50s, this feels, I mean, I think you're about the same age, a bit younger than me, aren't you? Yeah, right. Yeah.
52 I am. 52.
Oh, same age as me. That's right. I forget we're the same age. That's right. 72 babies.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it feels right. It feels this is, because also when anything I'm doing, if I'm like looking at B vitamins, or if I'm researching cholesterol, or if I'm writing a nutrition report, or I'm chatting to people, or they're telling me their anxiety or whatever, I'm just so fascinated by it all, you know. So it doesn't feel like any other job I've had where I've been like, oh, I have to do this today. It's just like, oh, who am I meeting today and what we're
meeting today. Yeah, it is. Because as you say, you people are letting you into their lives, really, things they don't talk about to anyone else. And it's an honor to, you know, to be trusted enough to, you know, and as well, people taking your advice. I think that's the biggest part of me.
What you tell them.
Yeah, and then they come back and go, thank you, that was brilliant. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you.
I know, it's true. I was thinking about how often I used to say to people they need to eat broccoli, and they'd be like, yeah, I don't like broccoli. And now I'm like, right, as a nutrition advisor, I recommend broccoli for this and this and this. And they're like, okay, I'll try it. And I was like, it's like a magic wand. They're actually doing what you want them to do. Not always.
We got a magical coach cloak that we put on, and then everyone
wisdom. Like if you've spent a year or 3 years or whatever learning that, there must be something to it. So yeah, exactly.
No, it's I like it's the nutrition side, because I don't think people realize what we eat affects how we live.
Yes.
You know, there's so much things in processed food and the like that we don't really realize what we're eating half of the time.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I have a wheat intolerance. I love wheat.
Yeah.
I love, you know, all my favorite food are wheat things. I still eat them. But in smaller sort of, you know, I don't. I'll have them as a treat now. And which in a way is better, because now it's like, oh, I look forward to that. I can eat that.
Yeah, that's
but then
true.
know the next day I'm going to suffer. I'm going to suffer for it.
I'm the same with dairy. I've definitely got a dairy intolerance. I'm okay with yogurt because it's got the microbes in it, good for the gut. But I find if I have a lot of milk or cheese, I get quite ill. But now and again, I'll have an ice cream, or I'll have cheese and crackers as a treat, and then I don't feel too bad. But if I kept doing it, then I know I'd get really ill. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, this thing about processed food or ultra processed food, which is we're learning about more. Dr. Chris Van Tulloken, you're one of the twins who's often on TV. He did the science lectures at Christmas this year about ultra processed food. And actually, even my GP, when I went to see him recently, was asking me, he didn't know what my job is, so he's asking me what food I eat, and I was like, wow, that's the first time GP has asked me about, mentioned ultra processed food. Because the thing is, there's all these like monodiglycerides and fatty esters and stabilizers, basically to keep the shelf life of the product, either within the fridge, itself, so ice cream that doesn't really melt, you know, or bread to keep it on the shelf for weeks. And all of that isn't actually food. It's essentially little toxins that we're eating that contributes to inflammation. And actually, they think that there are some people that are so sensitive to that could be the prime reason why they put on weight, is because their body is basically fighting daily with processed materials. So yeah, nutrition's obviously, I would say this because it's my subject, but it's very fascinating. I always wanted to know as a kid. I remember this because I'm actually a drama teacher and a singer. That's what I used to do, and then I became a carer, which also helps with this job. But I always remember as a kid eating and then going, oh, what happens to it then when it disappears from my mouth? What happens to the food? Like I knew there was stuff happening in the toilet, or I'd feel like a gurgle in my tummy, but I always used to think, well, what when you eat an apple, how does it, how does that give you energy? And why does this taste nicer than that? And why do I feel sick after this, but I can eat loads of this? And so I feel like I've answered my inner child with by learning about it now, which is really great. And I love it. I love learning how to help people heal their own bodies through good nutrition and an abundance of food, not restrictions, or a diet attitude. Like, I don't deal with that at all. I never like that. I always like
No,
abundance of things. Yeah.
I don't. I don't like the word diet. The diet
No.
people. Oh, I'm going on a diet, and it's like, number one, it's got the word "die" in it, so you don't want to be associating yourself
Right.
with that. For a starter, you're
Don't
going on a
I?
healthy eating. Yeah, you're going on a healthy eating.
Yeah.
Do it, look at it that way, because you put in yourself a label as soon as you say, "I'm on a diet."
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
a
Mhm.
and yeah, it's more about watching what you eat, because you go on a diet, you lose the weight, and then you stop going on the diet, and then you put it all back on again.
Exactly. It makes it temporary, doesn't it? And then that's
It
not
is.
consistent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I talk with my clients about having a healthy, balanced eating plan for life. So, and really it's about educating people about blood sugar balance, about fiber, about essential fatty acids, about the role of the gut, and all of this amazing trillions of microbes that help us live, that we live symbiotically with. It's
With
fascinating.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think I think if they taught people more about things like that in schools, then they'd understand as they get older that yeah,
Yeah, you're
if I
right. Yeah.
eat this, and this is going to do my body good, because it'll work
Yeah.
with everything. But if I eat this, then yeah, it's not going to be any good. It's not
Yeah,
rocket science, really.
exactly. And what, like the way that, like, for example, protein builds and repairs tissues, whereas carbohydrate is the fuel that our body uses. It's the prime fuel. You can also burn ketones as well from the liver, from fat and protein. But it's actually, carbohydrates for fuel, proteins for building, and then the other one is fats. Oh yeah, and fats help us absorb vitamins, and they coat the nerves of the brain with the myelin sheath.
Yeah,
Is fat. A lot of the brain is fat or needs fat. And so when you look at all of that, it's like, why did I not learn this? Why was it only food technology or home economics where you learn how to cook a souffle, which is not
yeah.
it's not helpful in
No,
life.
it's not at all.
You know? Like I think it's only been really, like, because we're 52, we never had any knowledge about the gut and probably
Oh,
fiber when we were kids. It's only the last maybe 20 years or even 15, 10 years that it's become a new thing that people, not new, it's always been there, but a
but
subject
yeah,
that's become
people are talking
we're more
about.
aware of. Yeah, exactly. And I think eventually they will start. They have to start. I remember Dad saying, and my lovely dad, who was a good friend of yours, I remember him saying one day they're going to teach wisdom in schools. They're going to teach patience, And I
Yeah,
think it's the same with nutrition, that one day they're going to teach these basic foundational and understandings of life, which will help us to be able to live well and contribute. But we're not there yet. Yeah, Jamie Oliver's trying
no.
to help, though, isn't he? With
Yes,
his
yes,
schools plan.
and when he started it, yeah, he was having such a lot of flack, and I suppose I was
Yeah,
there a bit. Oh, there he is again, telling us what to eat. But
yeah,
but having sort of gone down the road now, and get involved with it, it's just like, no, he's right. He's right.
yeah.
We feeding chicken nuggets to kids in school, and it's all
Mm.
process. They need. No wonder that by the afternoon they're all flagging.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
having
Yeah, yeah,
carb attacks. There are,
yeah. Do you
it's
remember having,
energy
like,
foods.
sponge? Do you remember after lunch? I don't know if you had the same thing in your school. We used to have these really heavy sponges with custard
Yeah,
after lunch
yeah.
when in the
And all you
school
want to do is
canteen.
sleep.
Yeah, and I remember being every afternoon I was knackered in school. I never had energy in the afternoon. Yeah, exactly, exactly. In Japan, they have oh, I should have researched this before I came on because it was fascinating. But they basically have a whole system of food for all the schools where they have to have a certain amount of vegetables and protein, and they have good drinks. They have very low sugar, and it's like they have somebody in this, like one of the teachers, or it could even be another staff member especially, is there to make sure that the food is healthy to be able to sustain the kids so that they can learn well. That's amazing, you know?
That is
Need that in
amazing.
Wales. Let's bring it in
Yes, we
Wales.
do. Right, we're off down there. I'm going to get my placard and we go off
Yeah,
on assembly next week. We can.
that's right.
But I think it is you know, all seriousness, it is a topic that really should be looked at,
Yes, yeah.
because it's I see kids growing up these days, and yeah, they no wonder that they're quite happy to sit at home playing on their Xboxes. It's
Yeah,
because they've got
yeah.
no energy to do anything else.
Yeah, I know. I have to say though, I'm into Zelda at the moment with my brother Callum. So I can't complain too much about video games, but it's all
I
in
played
balance,
myself.
isn't it? No, but you're right though. I think what I really hope that I can, because I used to be a drama teacher in secondary school, and I used to teach singing in primary schools. And I love kids, and I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to. I was thinking about the local schools maybe setting up an after school well-being club, you know, and maybe we could have a chat about that another time, actually, because I'd like to
Yeah,
find like different techniques and strategies that I could teach kids, and nutrition would be one of them. You know, to be able to kind of just feel better about themselves, and also just to know, you know, we have to eat 3 times a day at least, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so every time you're eating, you're or maybe more, maybe
yeah.
snacks as well. I could tell you more about healthy snacks. But yeah, you know, every time we're eating, we're giving ourselves energy, or we're taking energy away from our body. It depends on what we're doing.
And what
So,
really? Yeah.
you know, yeah. Should I give you some ideas of healthy snacks? Should I give you
Yes,
a few health
please.
tips? That
Yes,
might be
please.
good. Yeah. So the naturopathic, I have to go back a bit. The naturopathic method is holistic. So it's mind, body, soul, essentially, or mind, body, spirit, depends on where people lean. If they're more religious, spiritual, then I might focus on that. If they're not, then I know I don't stress them. We go meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
And it's really looking at so you know the whole the way that we're eating. It's also about stress, about anxiety, about sleep, relationships, stress factors in your life with your work-life balance. Are you having joy in your life? You know, are you contributing? It's all these things together. And along with that is an understanding that there's no bad food. So the stuff that's in ultra processed food isn't food. You know, that's like
Yeah.
chemicals. So that's bad. Trans fats are not good. So generally fats are good, but obviously fats which are become hardened are not good for us and for many reasons. But generally there's no bad food. So I don't go around saying to people carbohydrates are bad, or meat is bad, or even sweets are bad. It's more looking at the balance of these things in your life. So I used to be vegan, actually. I'm not vegan anymore, but I'm very much more plant-based than I am like heavy meat eater. And
Right.
when I first began my course, I was a bit worried because I thought it would be about plant-based, and it wasn't. It was really looking at the role of protein and the role of fats, which is animal products as well as vegetable, you know, and plant products. But I realize now that if I'm to work with people, there are vegans and people that are more plant-based, but in Wales, most people eat meat. You know, most
Yeah.
people are into dairy. If I want to help their diet and I say, well, you know, it'd be good if you could have less, even if, or become vegan, they'd be like, thanks, I don't want to talk
Yeah.
to you. I'd
Ta-ra.
rather talk to someone else. Yeah, exactly. And also I'm not vegan. I now and again have meat as well when I feel I need it. So I think, so what I've learned on this course and this is what I teach my clients, is to try and have balanced meals and snacks. So every meal to have protein, complex carbohydrates, which means the brown stuff, which has more fiber in it. So if we have simple carbohydrates, are things like white rice, white bread, white pasta, white flour, all the cakes, biscuits, cookies, you know, all that
Yeah.
nice, tasty stuff, right? And again, it's not bad, but if you have a lot of it, then you're going to be spiking your blood sugar, because simple carbohydrates eaten without anything else very quickly turn to starch, which gets processed into glucose. That spikes your blood sugar, and that's how we
I
put
got
on
you.
weight, essentially. Whereas if we have complex carbohydrates, the fiber in them, so the brown pasta has more fiber in than the white. The husk of brown rice, you writing it down? Well done, he's making
I
some notes.
am.
The brown rice has the kernel of it is still, you're still cooking and eating that, and it's also got some fats in it. Yeah, or any whole grains. So quinoa, what else is there? Amaranth, barley, buckwheat. These are all complex carbohydrates. If you have them with protein and with good fats, then what happens is, first of all, you curb your blood sugar. So rather than it going all the way up, insulin coming in, storing it in your, using it for energy, storing it in your fat, it dips down, then you have an energy dip, you have more, you know, a can of Coke or a donut, whatever, to go back up again. And it does this kind of roller coaster where you feel fine, then you're tired, then you're awake, then you're wired, then you're tired, you know, which is I used to be like all the time. It's actually curb. I know, right? It's just, well, we didn't know any different, Gerard, did we?
No,
This is just normal, right? I remember like my lunch used to be white bread with like spaghetti hoops was my lunch, for example, which I loved, you know, and then biscuit. And dinner would be like pasta with ketchup, and then if chicken, if my mum made me eat it, you know, like it was very, very, very basic. And she didn't know. She was trying to be healthy. Later, in her later life, she knew, but at the time she didn't. Anyway. So yeah, so if you have complex carbohydrates, that slows the blood sugar, and if you have that with any kind of protein, so that can be any protein that you enjoy, but trying to avoid processed meats. Go on, you've got a question. I can see.
No. Thinking. I am.
You're thinking.
Yeah.
You know, all the meats are generally fine. Obviously, try to have like good. So you know, one of the things recommended is not to have caged chicken. You know, try to have free range chicken, because the animals, obviously, the way that animals are raised is part of what will affect us. So often animals are raised and they're given quite a lot of antibiotics if they're raised in these, you know, small environments or caged, so that they don't infect each other and they live, they don't die. But then that can also be in the meat, you know, or there can be growth hormones given, which we take in. And we also don't know about the way animals are killed, the kind of the floods of hormones that go through them when with high stress, whether we take
that's true.
we're taking that in. So trying to have animals that have been raised well, you know. So obviously the thing is all these things become expensive. So grass-fed beef is different to normal beef or free-range chicken or like wild salmon. It's all lovely in essence, but often we haven't got the money to be able to spend all on that. So it's the recommendation. Like now and again, I buy wild salmon. Normally I buy normal salmon because I can't afford to buy to spend £8 on a piece of salmon rather than, or you know, one was, I think it was £8 for 2 pieces or £4 for 2, and you're literally looking at double the price, you know. So that can be tricky. So it's kind of the goal, you know, if people can do it. Some people can't afford it, but basically to try and have good protein, like really try and look at your protein sources. I want to say it's a complex carbohydrate, proteins. Also, it can be tofu or beans, legumes. Lentils are a very good source of iron. They're really great. They're very flexible. Not flexible. There's a word I'm looking for. You can use them in many different ways. I can't think of what the English word is out of my head.
Diverse, no. I know,
yeah.
I know what you mean, though.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I know
you
what
can
you
use
mean.
them in many ways. There's one word that says that. What else is there? Nuts as well. Nuts are also a good source of protein and fats. So you could have, for example, a whole wheat pasta dish with a cheese sauce and broccoli and a big handful of walnuts. That's a nice balanced lunch, for example, you know, or chicken pieces with that. So if you do those things, and the good fats, that's right. So the good fats are milk is a good fat if you can tolerate milk. Again, try and have organic rather than have the unorganic, or goat's milk. I have oat milk because I have this intolerance with milk. Cheese. We also recommend to have full fat cheese, full fat Greek yogurt, not half fat.
Now you're talking my language. Full fat cheese. Yes.
This is when everyone goes, I like this idea.
Yeah.
I know. Because I think the thing is, in the 80s and the 90s, and maybe even in the 2000s, there was still this misconception, or maybe people were trying to figure it out, that fats were bad for you. And so everything was low fat. But now there's a lot of processed products out there that say that they're low fat, but they're high in sugar. And how do we create fat in our body? It's essentially from the glucose that we eat. That's what gets laid down as fat. And there's other stuff in there as well. So it's much better to have, for example, rather than having a low fat fruit yogurt, it'd be much better to have a plain yogurt, a nice couple tablespoons of plain thick Greek yogurt with a handful of berries, some flax seeds. So you've got your protein in there as well, and it's really good fiber, and some nuts. That's a really nice breakfast you can have that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
Then you don't feel that you're missing out because it's got that rich creaminess to it. That's nice and balanced. It doesn't spike your blood sugar, and it keeps you going for quite a long time. So it's like looking at meals. How can we every meal be protein, carbs, and fats? And then every snack. So, for example, I will stop talking. This is my kind of
No. This is. I'm taking all this in.
Oh,
Taking all this in.
Well done. Yeah. So a healthy snack could be, for example, someone might have a bar of chocolate, around about 4 o'clock, would need to pick up, or even just a banana. And both those two things wouldn't be seen as balanced. Obviously, first of all, chocolate's not bad. It's if you have a very sweet, milky chocolate, this is going to spike your blood sugar more. If you have dark chocolate, 70% up, it's actually very good for you. And you can't eat a lot of it because it's more bitter, than the milk. You can eat like 5 Twixes, but a block of dark chocolate, you could eat a couple of bits, then you'd be satisfied.
That's true.
But actually, if you think about having like a banana is a fruit which is good, but they're also the way modern banana. This is what I find interesting on my course. The way modern bananas are grown, they're grown to be sweeter, and the seeds are much, much smaller. And they can contribute again towards blood sugar spiking. The bananas of ancient times were smaller and had massive, big seeds in the middle, and then the flesh you can eat around the flesh of the banana, and they weren't as sweet, So a balanced snack would be like an orange with a handful of almonds and a nice piece or two of dark chocolate. That's got loads of fiber. You've got vitamin C. You've got protein and fats from the almonds, and also magnesium. And then the dark chocolate as well, which at the end is going to be. I think chocolate has iron in it, but I have to double check.
Yeah,
I don't want to be.
I think dark chocolate. Yeah, it does have iron.
Does have iron, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I remember learning that a while ago, and then thinking, "Am I making that up just so I could eat chocolate?"
I'm sure there is.
It does have. It has polyphenols in it, which is like plant-based compounds, which is healthy. So that's a balanced snack. Or, for example, an apple with peanut butter. A big blob of peanut butter and apple slices. Very filling. Very sweet, but tasty. Again, won't curb your blood sugar. So this is what I give people. I basically give. I go through. Should I tell you how I work with people? That's the other thing I realize might be helpful.
Yes.
And then I'll stop and you can talk.
Yes, okay. I'm here to talk with you.
No, that's true. But I don't want to be like, rambling on. Babbling
on. This is why it's called Benney Babbles.
That's right. So the way I work with people at the moment, because it's kind of evolving, because I'm learning as I go along, but the way I've trained to work is I have my first session, I go through a questionnaire, quite full background questionnaire with the person to learn about them as a whole person, So again, stress factors, anxiety, sleep, what's their home life like, alongside a 4-day food and drink diary. A really honest one. Like I say, I'm not judging it. I'm going to be analyzing it, but I'm not judging. And people are like, oh, should I put in that croissant? Yeah, put everything in.
Put it in.
Whatever you've eaten. So I have about an hour and a half of quite a long chat, and often things will come up with people there, which they've realized. Maybe a lot of people are emotional eaters, for example, and they may not have clocked that they're eating when they're happy, when they're sad, or if it's like digestive issues, it might be they've put up with acid reflux their whole life, didn't really know you could stop it. I've just been taking Gaviscon, and then that's brought other problems. So it's interesting. I have to be like a detective. I'm sure you're the same with your job, actually, where you have to ask further questions to get behind what someone's saying, So that's the first session. Then I go away and I compare the diary with my nutritional understanding, and I put together a personalized report, which is recommending not trying to fix everything. Someone might come to me with 5 problems. Also, I can't treat, I don't diagnose, and I can't treat conditions. So if someone's got colitis, for example, or Crohn's disease, or diabetes or heart condition. I can't say I am treating your condition because I'm not a doctor. All I can
Yeah.
do is give dietary advice. So what I might do though, as I say, this kind of food is healthy, has been proven to be healthy for your heart. Or
Yeah.
people with colitis have found that having, yogurt with all of these microbes in it, is very helpful and can help with spasms or whatever. So I might give advice like this has been helpful, but I can't say I'm treating that one. So then I'll look at the priority. So often with people, it's the thing that's causing them the most difficulty is the thing that I'll be recommending we look at first. But I'll also give general advice. So, and I try to give people knowledge. So if I'm like I did with you about blood sugar, if someone's issues I can see are blood sugar based, it's not to do with diabetes because we all have blood sugar management in our bodies because we're human and we eat sugar, things that turn to sugar. Then I'll try and give a shorter but palatable paragraph about why that symptom is linked with that factor, because you could give a page of it, but you have to give it in a way that people go, okay.
Well, they can ingest it to understand it then, yeah.
Exactly. It's been quite hard making things shorter because I'm, when you're interested in something, you want to give full background.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll give people a report with that. And then I usually sit with them and I go through it together because I realize if I just give them a report, then they're not going to make any changes. Change comes from habit change and from making small steps and doing that consistently. So I have some people, that's all they want. They just want a bit of knowledge. They want to try some ideas. Then I might stay in contact on WhatsApp a bit or call them. And that's it. And that's fine. Some people I work with, particularly weight loss clients with over 3 months, where I'll be meeting them every 2 weeks, where we've got a definite plan of what they're going to try and include. Or what they're going to stop having. A lot of it's about abundance. Mainly it's about eat more vegetables, to be honest, and salads. It's the main thing I'm saying to everybody. But like some people don't eat any fish, and they'd never thought about it as being, why would I eat it? So I'll talk about omega-3 fatty acids and that kind of thing. So and then some people, a lot of it can be quite therapeutic. That's why I did the coaching training, because I realized this isn't about B vitamins and broccoli and protein. This is about someone's heart needing to be able to say it's okay if I make this change and I'm not depriving myself. And they need to talk more, why maybe they feel socially anxious, so actually going to the gym is just terrifying. So the session might be about improving that way of thinking and encouraging to try something new, so that's what I'm doing.
It's very similar to the process that I have, really. Questionnaire, and it's building. It's for them, so that they can understand and trying to break things down to the simplest. Because if we give them jargon, it's just gonna go over their heads, and as you said, they're not going to do anything with it. By giving them something that they understand and walking them through it, it's is a lot better than just leave it. Right, there we go. Off we go. Go and do it yourself. Just having that support there, people, there's more. They're more likely to see it through.
Yeah, exactly. And there might be things that we take for granted. Like I think you also do meditation, don't you, or mindfulness practices? So do I. And it's just a normal. I can't imagine a day where I wasn't having that. I say prayers, and it's Baha'i, and it's just very calming, and I kind of feel grounded. And some people have never done that. They're just constantly moving and going and reacting and responding on their phone all the time. So sometimes it's just, or with recipes, they might say, oh, I've never had broccoli. I don't know how to cook it, or all these green vegetables. So it might simply be sending them some videos of how to cook this.
Of how to do it,
or recipes. Or I've one client, bless him. He's got mobility problems. Okay. So he said, I can't cook for myself anymore. I can't do it. And I was like, well, could you maybe sit? He said, because he can't chop standing up. And I was just like, oh, could you maybe sit down at the table and chop? Is that? But he went, I've never thought that before. You smart ass. He went, and I was like, well, I was just thinking, practically, because I'm a problem solver. And I think people just get into problems and they say, oh, it's not impossible. I can't do it. You know, whereas everything's usually got a solution. And you're there to just hold their hand a little bit, aren't you? And say, it's okay. Have a go at this, you know?
Yeah, and usually I find they've got the answers themselves, and just talking through
Yes.
things with them, they'll tell me the answer to what the issue is, and then it's like
Yeah.
that you've just you and they oh yeah, oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes from them, it's oh right, it gives them that little bit of oh right, yeah, I do know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, I do think people have the knowledge of their own healing within themselves. Just like the
Definitely.
body, like when we take like medication, it's actually the body or the food we eat. It's the body that's doing the healing, you know. It's not just it's not just an outside thing that's coming in, healing and then leaving. It's actually the body that's healing. Like you
Body.
think of any bruise that we have or a cut on our skin, you know, it's the body's immune system is repairing that cut. And I think it's the same with the mind and the heart. But often we're
Totally.
just not giving time to ask ourselves the questions, or we feel we don't have the answers and or we don't
I think
believe in ourselves anymore, you
I
know?
think that's the one that we don't believe in ourselves anymore, and it
Yeah.
seems there's the fear of change, or it's all right. I've done this for ages. It's making me
Yeah.
unhappy, but I'm comfortable, and
Yeah.
just having
Yeah.
that sort of encouragement to say, well, hang on a minute, i- if you do this, you'll be even more comfortable.
Yeah. That's true. That's
You'll be
true.
uncomfortable for a little bit, but then when you settle
Yeah.
into it, that will be your life then.
That's
And
right.
but
Yeah.
people, it's having that see in the long term, but willing
Yeah.
to sort of see it through, because there are obstacles, there are hurdles that we got to get over,
Mm.
but
Mm.
that's that's the whole fun of it as well, the learning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we can have joy in the process of doing that, can't we? Rather than the end goal being the time when we feel happiness and then we feel
Yeah.
low again. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think also some people are just used to a level of pain or being uncomfortable that they don't realize doesn't have to be like that, you
Th-
know?
yeah, yeah. Is there? Oh well,
Have
no,
you
this
found
is
that
what it.
with clients as well? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, very much.
Mm.
Where it's they think they deserve it in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh no, this is all I deserve. I don't deserve a better life. This is the way my life is, and it's
yeah.
like,
Mm.
no, no, it's not. You're just settling.
Yeah,
You're just
right.
settling because they've usually been told that's all they worth. Stop complaining.
Yeah,
Just get on with it. Be happy with what you got and what you
yeah,
can
yeah.
do. And there's so many people out there that have been sort of told these things, and then when
Mm,
you sort of explain
mm.
to them and show them that there's a different way, they're like, "Wow,
Yeah, yeah,
wow,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I know. I think we're still coping a little bit with the with the oppression of the Welsh, actually. I think there's a lot of people, not to get political about stuff, but who don't realize that we're still carrying on, like in the valleys. You're Aberdare valleys, and you, and
yeah,
I'm down in Tottenham Fraith. And I think there's a lot of people that, like, I remember when meeting one lady when the train opened up to Cardiff. She said, and it was open about a year, and she said, "Oh, I haven't gone yet. I'm not. I feel a bit scared to go to the city." And I was just like, "Oh my god!" I was on like the first train to Cardiff. I was so excited that we could finally get into the city. A lot of people don't leave the valleys, or
no,
they have such close family relationships. They don't meet anybody else, and so they will just see what's around them and say, "Well, this is must be what life is." And I
this
think
is
when
yeah.
people come to therapies, they begin to open their minds a little bit, that there's more than just their own life experience, and we can be joyful. We still need to go through tests and suffering, I think, for growth,
Oh yeah. Otherwise,
but
and
we don't have
that's a
to
part of the
settle.
learning process. But we don't have to,
Yeah,
yeah, as you said, we don't have to sort of engulf ourselves in it.
exactly.
It's a
Destroy
lesson.
ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lesson. Take it on board, learn something from it, and move forwards.
yeah,
And that's that I'm a strong believer of that is the way that we should be. It's
yes,
overcome.
yeah.
If life was easy,
Mm,
it would be boring, very very boring, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
not a lot would would happen. We wouldn't do anything. But
Yeah,
to have
yeah,
that strive that we've got to sort of overcome things and learn these lessons, it makes
yeah.
us better people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was also thinking about what's interesting for me about your job is I noticed that sometimes when people come to me, I think, oh, they don't need nutritional advice. They need a therapist. They need someone to talk through things with. I had a really lovely client with ADHD who found it really difficult to not to take my advice because he completely got what I was saying and wanted to do it, but his own life wasn't organized enough where he was able to, after a couple of days, he just forgot again. And I actually
Yeah,
referred him to an ADHD coach. Even though I was losing a client, essentially, I thought, nah, he's gonna be paying me, and I'm not gonna be able to help him. And I wasn't even talking about nutrition; I was trying to talk about life organization. And I was
yeah,
wondering if it's similar with yourself, like with some people, do you think, oh, it's great they're here, but they actually need more of this? They might need
yes.
nutritional support, for example, for their mental health, alongside other things. And I was thinking it'd be lovely if there was ways that I think this is happening, that I guess this is part of it, where the well-being sector starts to interlink with each other so that we could start to
Yes.
look at the whole person rather than just the one thing that we've trained in, or one aspect that they think they need. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's the company that I work for, Vitality Therapies. It
Yeah.
has basically employed people from different sort of
Write that down.
sectors. So all the therapists all come from
Yeah.
different sort of backgrounds, and we all got our own skills. Like I'm a coach.
Yeah.
There's lots of and so we can work with people properly then, because it's like, right, okay, I think this is right. This is for you. This
Yeah,
is,
amazing.
this person is for
Mm,
you. And I'm working with outside agencies to, like you said, point them in the right direction for nutrition and exercise and things. It's not
yeah.
just you come in and talk to me, because you can come in and
Yeah.
we can have a chat, but let's build something, a plan for you and point
Oh,
them
lovely.
in those. But I think it is getting
Mm,
better where I used to find that therapists, especially when I first started, it was, oh no, this is my ball. You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
play with my ball.
yeah,
No. And I couldn't understand it at first, but it is a bit of, because not every client is going to be perfect for you.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
pass it on to a different therapist, learn and from
yeah,
each other, because it's not about us. And I think
yeah,
that's what
exactly. It's about
lots of
them.
therapists
Yeah,
forget about. It's not about us. It's about
yeah,
them, giving them the
yeah,
best service. Yeah, I probably send more people to different therapists and to different places than I work with,
yeah,
because I know
yeah.
that, yeah, this
Mhm.
isn't mine, but I know somebody in this field. Go and talk to them.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, because I guess otherwise we could be setting ourselves up to entering into arenas which are not helpful for the person, and where we're kind of making it up, thinking, oh, I know from my life experience. Like I thought with this ADHD client, because my brother has ADHD and I have a little bit of it. I'm just not as much as him, perhaps, maybe. I thought, oh, I could just share with him what we do, but it wasn't helpful because he had another form of it and other life experience, and he had self-esteem issues that were destroying him. Whereas our
Yeah,
self-esteem's pretty good. We're just a little bit bonkers as people. So I realized that it's actually not going to be helpful. And then I thought, oh, I could actually I think this is where then as a therapist, you have to, well, not a therapist, I'm just an advisor at the minute and a coach, but I realize I need to learn detachment. I need to go, what's the, like dad, what's the wisdom here? The wisdom
yeah,
is they need to see somebody else. And I know that every person you work, especially if you're genuinely trying to work with them with the spirit of service, you really want them to do well. You're in it. We learn this subject so we can help people. It's not a big money making
no,
business,
it's
is it?
not. No.
Yeah, exactly. But we managed to trickle on. I think if you've got that heart, then people will always recommend you to other people, and you'll
Yes.
find the people that need energetically, the law of attraction, you'll be guided to the people that you need to help and that need you and that help you on your journey as well. But I've noticed that you have to practice a level of detachment. Even like if
Yeah.
I have a client that comes for 2 sessions, and they're happy to pay for that. I hate asking for money, by the way. It's the worst thing about
Oh,
the job
same,
is
same.
asking for
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Oh, I must say, just like, oh,
Oh,
it's always at the end, it's the uncomfortable. But when I, luckily for the main therapy, it's in the doctor, so I get to
That's
wait for
great.
that. So
Yeah, that's
that's
what
like,
I know,
but
I know,
but the
I know, it's
private
good.
stuff, it's just like, oh yeah, at the end of the session, I'm like, oh, I got to ask, I hate, it's like
Oh, it's
I feel
horrible.
awkward.
I know. I think the thing is that especially if you're someone that has always helped your friends and family. Like I did lots of stuff with nutrition before I started studying because I know my
Yeah,
dad's health and Rami's got MS and Callum's eczema and my weight loss and everything. So I knew quite a lot before I started studying. So I was very used to giving it, but no one would listen to me. But I used to give advice here, there, and everywhere. And they all started eating more green vegetables because of me, I have to say, which was good. But but yeah, so I'm used to doing it for free. So it's very strange to ask people to pay you. But I have a client who used to be in many different kind of jobs. He had his own self-employment job at one point. And whenever I meet with him, he's an elderly gentleman, he's an ongoing client. He's very supportive, and I think I'm helping him, which I'm very happy with. He always asks me, so Fleur, how's the business going? And he gives me advice. And he said, you need to ask for what you're worth, this, because if I have a client, I prepare beforehand.
yeah,
I might spend 2 hours going through their report, and then I'm sitting with them, I'm WhatsApping. All of it is time and energy, which isn't just in that one session. And he said also, if you
totally.
keep charging under, then other people in your field, you're undercutting what they need to be offering. So you need to look what's the average within the field that you're already working in, and just ask for it. And if people
Yeah,
can't pay for it, that's okay. There'll be someone
yeah,
else that will.
yeah. No,
Yeah, it's
you're
hard
right.
though.
It
Yeah.
was the same thing for me. It was, well, how much do I charge? I can't charge that. These people are, as you said,
Yeah.
but it's the time. It's not just about the hour that I spend with them. I'll spend an hour or maybe 2 hours, 3 hours writing a
Yeah.
report for them that I send to them.
Yeah.
So it's all that, and I never really used to sort of take that on board. It was my partner really that have said to me, Valu, you tell me that your time is valuable, but you're
Yeah.
not but you're not actually
Yeah.
doing it, you. And I was like, you're right. You're right,
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
it's
You're
not just
right.
that hour, it's 2 hours, and that's why I charge this amount.
Yeah.
Is because it's not just for the hour. It's there's that's a whole thing, and it's like, right,
Exactly.
yeah, you're right
Yeah.
there.
I try and explain that to my clients as well to make it really transparent. Not always, but sometimes I'll explain the reason why it's this price is this. I am still, however, doing a discounted thing for my first year because I'm learning alongside my clients. So I feel
Yeah,
like that's good.
if there's people on benefits that are on all very low income, then I have got a scheme where I take money
Yeah,
off for them, simply because
good. I
it,
love that.
I've got, but yeah, it's they the people that really usually need the help. They
Yeah,
come,
I
and it's
know,
like,
right? Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think it's still, they're appreciative of it. They're having a discount, and they seem to be the ones that work the hardest.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is something about the exchange, isn't it? Which is
Yeah,
important. Like I have one client who says one of the reasons why I'm doing what you asked me to do is because I'm paying good money for this. And he said, and if I'm just
yeah,
gonna keep paying for it and then not making the changes, I'm just chucking money out the window, as well as I'm his accountability partner. So he knows
right,
when he sees me in a week's time,
yeah,
that he needs to, I'm gonna be asking him about what he managed to implement, and has he added more greens, and is he sleeping better? He doesn't want to come up every week and go, oh, I haven't done anything, especially if he's paying. So there
yeah,
is, I know, I guess we just have to trust that at the moment, this is how the world works. In the future, it might be a bartering system where I get a pound
yeah.
of potatoes for an hour, maybe instead.
Yeah, the way you're
Bag
going,
of
I think it will be
potatoes.
that way.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
But no,
Yeah,
but it does it when I started, I started off just doing mindfulness classes and things,
yeah, yeah,
and I used to do them for nothing really. It was
yeah,
for me to give in something back, and I was learning, so I was like, well, there's an exchange here,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, that's like what
but
I'm doing often with people. Yeah, exactly. Especially in the
I
beginning,
found
right? Yeah, good.
Yes, right at the beginning, and then it came to the point of, yeah, I've got to start. I've got to start charging now because I'm giving up every Wednesday night, it's like, right, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
people are, are coming regular, and it's so that first thing what I had to say to people, right, I'm paying for the room every week,
Yeah.
and I have been for the last sort of 5 months.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
mind? Do you mind if we, just pay it? And everyone was just like, yes, yes. Oh, we didn't realize that you were paying for the room,
Oh,
and
amazing.
and they were
Yeah.
just like, oh right, yeah, yeah, all right, yeah. People are willing to pay for things if they're getting
Yeah,
something out of it. And it was like, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. That's so good. Do you still do those classes?
not so much that I do workshops more now these days.
Yeah.
But I don't do them for nothing these days. But I do them at a low price. They're £15 each. They are.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Yeah.
cover lots of different things. Because I was
Mm.
thinking, I messaged you were saying about maybe you should do some workshops because they're
Yeah.
a good way. I do
Yeah.
the odd
Mm.
free one, just introducing what I do.
Yes. Yeah,
Every couple
yeah.
of months, I'll do a free one and say, right, this is what I do, and then I talk about mindfulness and coaching and the spirituality and
Brilliant.
all that kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
like those free ones, and people will come
Yeah.
to those.
Yeah,
And I've
yeah.
picked up quite a
Yeah.
few clients from those.
Well, I should try that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think, yeah, I don't know why I think what I get worried about, because I'm new to this and I know I have a lot of knowledge, I still can't remember absolutely everything I've learned, because it's biochemistry and I'm a drama teacher, you know what I mean? Like, it's now and
Yeah.
again it's like, oh my God. But what I normally do with the client, like I had a client who has a Helicobacter pylori infection, or H.
Oh,
pylori, which is bacteria in the stomach, and it can cause lots of different problems. A lot of people have it, apparently. It's actually quite frequent. Not quite frequent, it's quite common, especially
common.
in older people, right? So I did a deep dive research into H. pylori so I could then give her all the different naturopathic remedies that might be helpful for this. So now I know quite a lot about that. I could give a talk on that, but I realized that if I was to give a workshop, I know it's not true, it's in my head. I would think, oh, what if people ask me a question that I don't know? How am I going to respond to that? Then I was thinking, I just need to do it. And if people ask a question I don't know, just say, I'll go away and research it and I'll let you know.
There we
Right?
are.
Simple.
That's your answer, because that was
Yeah.
my first thing when I started doing the workshops.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
is like I got my script and everything, and I'm so I can keep my timings. But
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes people hit me with something, and I'm like, oh, I'll be honest with you, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
I'll get back. I'll find out and I'll get back. Yeah, where you
Yeah.
before I would
Good.
have probably gone, ah, I've gone
I
into panic
know.
mode. But just
I
that
know it's
honesty
true.
of, oh, I'm not sure, but I'll find out.
Yeah,
People are
that's
quite
good. It
quite
also
happy
shows
with that.
you're not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes or pretend to be something you're not. Because I'm not an expert. I'm learning. I'm learning. What I'm really learning how to do is help people heal themselves. And everyone. So even I have no one client. I've had 10 clients. And I've had lots of freebies before when I was training, I needed to
Yeah,
practice on people. So probably about 20 altogether. And even though about half of them are weight loss, that's their goal, is to lose weight. Each person is different to the other. They've all got different factors. So you can't, that's just in 20 people. Imagine 100 people or like 1,000
yeah,
people over 10 years, right? You can't be the expert for every single thing. But I've also noticed that a lot of what I know that to me now is normal, like even the blood sugar management thing is something I've learned I didn't know about before. And when I share it, like you were taking notes, right? These are things that, that's how that happens. That I never realized that's what leads to that. And that even that little moment can be a light bulb moment for
yeah.
people. Then it's the habit change after, because then I think it took me about a year for me to sort our diet out, because I just kept eating the good stuff and then eating loads of crap. And eventually I was like, you can't keep doing this and have clients and tell them to try and not have all the donuts if you're still eating the donuts,
Yeah,
Then I began
practice what you
thinking, right,
preach. Yeah,
Exactly. Don't be a hypocrite. So now I'm pretty good. I have once a week we have a nice piece of cake or something, even then I try and make it a balance of protein, carbs and fat. So I'll have a handful of walnuts next to it. Because now even if I see carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, I'm like, that's going to put weight on. So I don't want to eat that. Yeah. So I do know that the knowledge I have is good, but it's just having confidence, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is
it
helpful. Just
is.
having a chat about it makes me think, oh, I am able to talk about this in a confident way, but it takes courage, doesn't it? Like
It,
when
it
you were doing your Elvis shows. Get right. I bet in the beginning you were like, oh, this is so fun, but I have to like step out of my comfort zone to
oh,
do this
totally.
completely new thing, right? Yeah.
Totally. I think I was quite lucky with that because it was a character. I
Yeah,
could
that's true.
pretend to
Yeah.
be, I transform into him, and
Yeah.
I could say things and do things as him that I would never ever say to people as me or
Really?
do as me. But as a character, because he was flamboyant and thing,
Yes.
people just went, oh yeah. I would probably, I would probably have, I'd probably get a smack in the teeth if I said
Yeah.
the kind of thing. But
Yeah.
but going through, for a long time, I went through the thing of, all right, yeah, it's him, it's not me, it's him. And then
Yeah.
and then it was pointed out to me, but you are him.
Yeah.
So, so you
Maybe.
have got the confidence to do it yourself. You've just been
Yeah.
using him as a mask, really. And I was like, because I never really do anything as me. It's always a character that I play.
Yeah.
So, but now I've started sort of. Well, yeah, no, hang on a minute. I've stood up in front of 2,500 people and done, without thinking about it. So why
Yeah.
can't I
Yeah.
do it as me? But again, is it the knowledge? Is the knowledge that I got good enough? Have I got
Yeah.
enough knowledge to pull this off in
Exactly.
case
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
asks me that awkward question? But
Yeah.
and then yeah, but when the awkward question comes, it's about how we react to it. If we go
Yeah. Yeah.
ah, then it's going to be one of those moments. But if we go,
Yeah, it's
oh,
true.
that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like I notice as well that when people know what I'm doing, they either get really enthusiastic because they need advice themselves or they love food as I do. Or they ask me like specific questions like, is it okay to have this food or is this bad? And when I was before I trained, I would be like, well, actually, this is good for this is bad for that. I'd be a bit more like black and white. Now I'm like, it depends. I don't know you fully as a person. I need to have a session with you to see, because some people can take quite high simple carbohydrates and not put on any weight. Some
Yeah,
people, like my husband, we can eat
yeah,
literally the completely different diets where he has load of pasta and pizza and garlic bread frequently, and he, because of his MS and other issues, he won't put weight on. Me, if I do that, I just start putting on weight really quickly, and the same thing with protein. I can have a lot of protein. If he has a lot of protein, it can slow his digestive system down. So we're all different. There's no like one answer. It must be the
no,
same also in and in therapy and in mindfulness. Yes, we've all got a brain. I believe we have a soul. We all have a body and our emotions and everything, but we're all unique. We're all different in
we
the
are.
way we respond. So you can't give like little pithy answers either to someone's question. It needs to be more in that full context. And I think also on another subject, it's to do with imposter syndrome, isn't it? Sometimes,
Oh
especially
yes,
if we're in a new
yes.
field where we just think, oh, I don't deserve to be pretending to be this
To be
nutritional advisor. Who
totally,
I am is this other person. And it's learning how we can be all those things. We can be flexible and just tell our inner critic to switch off and have a cup of tea back of your head.
yeah. Just
Leave the
tell
building.
the little chimp in my head. It's like, oi, I'm in charge here, right? Not you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a mental strength I think you have to develop, isn't it? Because
It
how can we
is
help people believe in themselves and the change they have the capacity to make if we don't have that in ourselves as well?
totally, totally.
Yeah.
And even though, like, my journey started through my self improvement. You know, it
Yeah.
was all I
Yeah.
had no inkling to be, you know, to be a therapist or to be a coach. As I said
Yeah.
earlier, if it, you know, I would have said you needed therapy, but by learning all these different things, it was I could see when people were having issues, I could see myself in them, and
Yeah.
and I,
Yeah.
and I could say, oh, have you thought about you know looking at this way
Yeah.
or that, and
Mm.
then and then it was like, well, maybe I should train because I've got this knowledge now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
helped me, and if it's helped me, then maybe it can help other people. And yeah, and then I
Yeah.
went down that road. The same reason I for my books. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, I I I'm almost on almost finished my third one now, and
Oh,
to think that
amazing. Great.
I'm on that I've written one book was mad enough, and now I'm
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
third. And again, it's that imposter syndrome of who am I to write a book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who am
Yeah.
I? But again, it's if somebody reads it, and if one person goes, "Oh wow, yeah, I get that,"
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I'm happy. I didn't I haven't written books to be a millionaire.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love that you've done that. And I've read maybe is it your first one I've
Yeah,
read?
life's a bitch. Yeah,
That's
I
the
think
one. Yeah, I
you had
read
that one.
that
Yeah,
and it was wonderful, really wonderful. Not super long. It was a short book,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah,
But
yeah.
easy
Very
to
short.
read and yeah, lovely wisdom in there. It's really good. No, I agree. I will have to go though, I'm afraid. I've just realized
Well,
we
that's
could keep
okay.
chatting.
We
It's
can do this again. This is the good thing about babbling
yes.
podcasts.
I
If we
know.
run
Well,
out of time, we can.
we can do a babble again. Well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking about for maybe another one is getting a couple of different therapists together from different
Yeah.
things. So I've got a friend that's a personal trainer, two personal trainer friends actually. They've despair with me, but anyway, they're really good at their jobs. A friend that does the tap-in therapy, the emotional
All
freedom
right.
technique therapy.
I know.
He's just trained to do that in Cardiff. Maria, the NLP that
Yes.
our tattoo artist friend, NLP therapy, and yourself. And I was thinking it'd be maybe there's others to kind of like have a round circle of talking about helping people, and learning together as therapists. Like what is working, what is difficult, how can we work together, what are common things that could help each other. I was thinking that kind of so it'd be quite nice if it was a podcast actually, rather than just like a meeting, because then other
Yeah.
therapists and people could learn from it. And also it gives people a chance to share. Maybe you can go around, everyone shares what they do. So there's a little bit of advertisement for them in terms of their own business. But I feel like we need more of this. It's the meaningful conversation again. That's where it is, right? That we used to
Yes.
do,
Yeah.
like on the
Yeah.
theme of like health and healing. I think that's what
I
I'd love
think
to do actually, as
that would
maybe
be. I think that would be. That sounds great. And because
yeah.
I quite miss our meaningful conversations. I used to
I
really
know
enjoy
they were
them.
so good, weren't they? I
They
know.
really were.
Yeah,
And
maybe in the
I think
future,
yeah, it
you
came
know.
just at the right time as well. It was lockdown and sort of
Yeah.
it was yeah it really well that time really helped me. And meeting your dad was and
Yeah.
yourselves. It was yeah, everything came at the right time.
Yeah, it was very special, wasn't it? You and Dad
It
studied
was.
together, didn't you? And it was lovely. So, are we able? Are you able to have different, like multiple screens in this format?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah. I
two. It
think
can
I
be
can
like
have.
4 or 5 or
I
something.
think I can have up to 8 people in there. I think
Oh,
so.
amazing! Ah, so shall I
And
contact
play
people?
videos. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah,
Yeah,
we think
amazing.
we'll organise it then.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Maybe if I find 3 and you find 3, and then we've got 8. Should we do
Yeah.
that? Then
Yeah.
we can
That
get to
sounds
know each
cool.
other and stuff. Yeah,
That sounds
wicked.
good to me.
See, we've got a plan. Do you
There we
do this
are.
with your clients? I always do a what's the next step, whenever, whatever, if
Coming,
even if
yeah,
I've
coming to
just
the
done
end.
the
What is
initial
the next?
therapy, yeah, I'll be like, right, the next step is what? And then we'll look at that. So they've got something to do. So that's what we've just done. The next step. That's great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I really enjoyed our chatting. It's really lovely to
Yes,
connect
Me
up with you
too.
again. All right.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and yeah, we'll be doing this sometime soon again. So I'll thanks if
Yes.
anyone is watching. Thank you. Oh, we have
Yes.
somebody's liked, so somebody's watched.
Oh, nice.
I go
Very
on.
good.
So I'll wish you a wonderful afternoon, and
Lovely. Thank
see you
you.
also. So let me just end the stream, and let me just see. I don't think there's anything going to play at the end. Let me have a look.
Mm.
No, there isn't. So it's just going to end. So goodbye, everyone.
Okay.
Have a lovely day.
Bye,
Keep
everybody.
smiling.